crypto in 2024, I believe, is going to be an incredibly powerful year.
Yeah,
and
I think you're right.
And it's because of an alignment. We have this celestial alignment of all the things, all the cycles. So we have the 4-year cycle in Bitcoin, right? The halving happens in April, early May, depending on the blocks. But that's going to happen. We've got this wave of liquidity that's about to be unleashed with the approval of the ETF.
Renowned hedge fund manager Mark Yusko, the founder, chief investment officer, and managing director of Morgan Creek Capital Investments, has played a significant role in diversifying the asset management firm into the digital assets industry. A vocal advocate for alternative assets, Yusko frequently comments on the crypto space, particularly emphasizing cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. In anticipation of a historic moment for the crypto and digital asset space, Yusko expresses a strong bullish sentiment for the trajectory of crypto asset prices in 2024. One key factor contributing to this optimism is the much-anticipated Bitcoin halving, a periodic event that reduces the reward for mining Bitcoin transactions and the asset's inflation rate. Previous halving events have consistently led to substantial price gains for Bitcoin, and Yusko believes 2024 will be no exception. Looking ahead, Yusko envisions 2024 as a transformative year for the crypto industry, driven not only by the Bitcoin halving but also by potential SEC approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF in January. He anticipates the entry of thousands of institutional investors into the space, marking a significant shift toward mainstream adoption. With 2 additional powerful events in the pipeline, Yusko believes that 2024 will not only witness record highs for Bitcoin and other crypto assets but also usher in a complete revolution in the broader industry.
Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your comment and observations in the comment section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
We've got this cyclical wave of it looks like the economy's slowing, therefore the Fed's going to go back to accommodation, which will devalue the dollar more, which means if we price Bitcoin in dollars, the price of Bitcoin goes up. I mean, that's just the way it works. We've got a technological wave where 650,000 people were laid off from big tech. That's a lot. And it turns out some of them don't have enough money to never work again. Some do, but many don't. And turns out some of them are like really smart. And so they are starting new companies and in these cycles post downturn. So everyone says, well, we didn't have a recession. Fine, you can believe that. I don't really care. 2022 was as much a recession as 2001, right? We had 2 negative quarters. We had 1% growth for the year. That's a recession. Now, you don't want to call it a recession because you juiced the employment numbers. I don't really care. But post 2001, 2002, 2003 were some of the best vintages for business formation, venture capital, innovation. And it's because during those downturns, people get displaced.
Right.
And turns out most powerful force in the universe, not Bitcoin. I mean, that's close, but no, I'm just kidding, is human creativity. Human creativity is unbelievable. And actually the reason I am the most excited about Bitcoin, I'm excited about other things in digital assets, but Bitcoin in particular, and I'm stealing this directly from Jimmy Song, but Jimmy talks about if you get paid in fiat, you're a slave. And it's a really politically charged word. You're not supposed to use it, but you are, right? You're a slave. Why? Because the government can steal the wealth back from you through devaluation. If we migrate to a deflationary currency like Bitcoin, and you got paid in Bitcoin, you're no longer a slave. You unshackle yourself. And what that does is it unleashes human creativity because you no longer have to work your slave and job, right? It's the Bachman-Turner Overdrive song, and quit your slave and job and get your pay, or start your slave and job and get your pay, right? That goes all the way back to the 70s. They've been talking about this. And so people knew that it was debt slavery and fiat slavery, but we didn't know how to break out of it because we needed the money to buy the food and pay the bills. Well, now if you can have an asset that actually appreciates as the dollar devalues,
yes,
you have a store of value, and you can take time to think, to create. And not everybody will be good at it, but the ones that are, I think it unleashes amazing potential. And the thing that gets me excited, and why I call it the truth net, is the trust industry has existed for 838 years. So the Medicis formed these first banks. They stole the idea from the Portuguese monks, the Knights Templar, and they created fractional reserve banking. Okay, great. Fractional reserve banking has had a great run for 838 years. And it doesn't mean that it necessarily has to go away, but the idea of two ledgers controlled by someone that we trust to oversee it, right? And that we pay money to. So $7 trillion gets extracted from the global system for trust, right? To verify that my account has my amount of money in it. That when I transfer it to you, the auditors come in and say it happened. Or the broker makes sure that my security is where they say it is. All of that trust can be replaced with truth. Because if we have a blockchain that says Mark has a Bitcoin, I don't need JP Morgan or Deutsche Bank or any broker or any accountant or any lawyer or anyone. It's there. It's truth.
In November of the previous year, when SPF's FTX and Elam research faced the collapse, Mark Yusko consistently asserted that the incident was orchestrated deliberately. According to him, the orchestrated collapse aimed to generate controversy within the crypto industry, providing regulators with the pretext for launching an aggressive onslaught against it. Yusko elaborated on a specific incident from 2022 involving a well-known U.S. investor who abruptly withdrew from an investment agreement with digital asset lender BlockFi. He attributed the widespread crypto contagion in 2022 to ongoing interference from the banking sector, contending that the centuries-old industry collaborates with U.S. regulators to permanently damage the cryptocurrency sector, ensuring their unchallenged control over global wealth. Yusko suggested a mutual alliance between the financial industry and U.S. regulators, emphasizing that the orchestrated attacks on the crypto industry serve the interests of politicians and regulators by providing them with financial support. Citing examples like Sam Bankman-Fried's substantial political donations to both Democratic and Republican politicians, Yusko highlighted how these contributions precede regulatory actions. Over a year later, regulators such as Elizabeth Warren continue to propagate false narratives about cryptocurrencies being the preferred mode of payment for criminals. Yusko predicts that this onslaught will persist for another 4 years before regulators concede defeat and crypto gradually establishes dominance across various sectors.
Now, here's the question for Ms. Warren, and I hope you're listening, Ms. Warren. Where the fuck is the $3 trillion that's missing? I'm deadly serious on this. Where is the $3 trillion that's gone missing while you've been in charge of the Banking and Finance Committee? So under your watch, $3 trillion has gone missing in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Syria, in all these places. Tell me where it is. So when she gives me that answer, then I'll listen to anything she has to say. But look, to answer your question, again, good question. Why do they lambaste it? Mm-hmm. Fear. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You're threatening their livelihood. Yeah. Not you, but we collectively are threatening their livelihood. And look, I didn't have anything to do with this. Jameson Lopp and all the original developers, that's who's threatening. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he, she, they are. I guess it's a he because he identified once as a he. But they created this thing that threatens the livelihood of the money changers.
Yes.
And look, I've been reading this really interesting book. It's called The New World Order. And it basically tracks the history of the Rothschild clan and the history of, it's some scary stuff. I mean, it's some scary stuff. And I probably shouldn't say this out loud because they'll come get me, but it's some scary stuff. And every war is simply a money-making exercise. When Russia was going into recession 10 years ago, what did they do? Start dropping bombs in the middle of the desert. Afghanistan has been occupied for 75 years, either by us or by Russia. It's just an alternating place to drop bombs so we can send checks to Raytheon. I mean, call it what it is. Dad, we are in the then they fight you phase. And I've talked about this for a while, right? 09 to 15, first they ignore you. bunch of nerds and geeks. You go play with your magic internet money. Have fun. Knock yourself out. 16 to 21, then they laugh at you. Ah, my God, you guys are so ridiculous. Okay, it's $1 billion. Oh, it's a $20 billion. Oh, it's $100 billion. Ha, 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 ha. It's just, fake it, phony money. 2022 to now, and I think through 2027, then they fight you. And why do they fight you? Well, because you're threatening. And this is not just this. This is every incumbent being threatened by disruptive technology, whether it was the, horse and buggy, or whether it was the train, or whether it was, early days of gas oil lamps versus electricity. There's this great ad from like 1903 or whatever of electric wires and this demon coming out of the wires. Like electricity was it's the same thing they try to demonize Bitcoin, right? It's some demonic thing that's going to, be bad for you. But the reality is fear is how you control people.
Yes.
It's how you elicit the outcome you want, right? And those in power will always fear competition, and they will always fear disruption.
Currently, all applications for spot Bitcoin ETFs appear to be poised for approval by the SEC, with an anticipated announcement by January 10, 2024. On Friday, major applicants, including BlackRock, Fidelity, Bitwise, and WisdomTree, submitted revised filings for spot Bitcoin ETFs, a crucial step toward obtaining approval from the Commission in the coming year. The applicants raced against the SEC's deadline on Friday afternoon to provide the latest S1 updates to their applications. Amid the scramble to meet the SEC's requirements, Bloomberg analyst Eric Balchunas reported on the updates and how applicants responded to the Commission's demands to add authorized participants to their filings. BlackRock, for instance, identified Jane Street and JP Morgan as its authorized participants, entities managing the creation and redemption of ETF shares in the primary market. Balchunas highlighted that BlackRock was among the few applicants to include authorized participants in their S1 updates. Other notable moves included Valkyrie and Fidelity also naming Jane Street as an authorized participant, with Fidelity disclosing a fixed fee of 0.39%, comparatively low among participants. As the regulatory landscape takes shape, applicants have begun marketing efforts. Bitwise released a Bitcoin-themed advertisement featuring Jonathan Goldsmith, while VanEck, another spot Bitcoin ETF applicant, presented its Bitcoin-themed commercial filmed at PubKey, a Bitcoin bar in New York City. The heightened competition among these firms reflects their readiness to seize opportunities upon the SEC's approval. The initial weeks following the announcement are crucial for these players, and the intense competition is viewed as positive for the broader crypto market. Share your thoughts on Mark Yusko's interview and Bitcoin predictions in the comments section. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.